All right, in this video, let's set up our credential to work with Git for GitHub specifically, okay? If you decide to use another Git provider like GitLab or Bitbucket, then you're going to have to do that on your own, set up credentials. So when we work with Git, there are two type of communication we can use. We can use SSH, we can use HTTPS. So for example, we're going to use this example repo one. I just created it. You see the lock icon here. That means it's a private repository, so you need to have access to it. It has to be either your own. This is my own, or I would have to invite you. Okay, so that's what a private repository means. It also says private right here. So when we click on this code, this green button, you click on the drop down. There are a few options. Okay, GitLab CLI. GitHub CLI. I've never actually used that. Feel free to explore it, of course. SSH is what I use most of the time. Professionals use SSH because you don't have to put a new password. HTTPS is another option, but every time you want to do like a pull or a push, it will ask for a password. But that is the easiest one because SSH, once you set it up, you don't have to do anything. You just keep doing it, right? Like it's not going to ask you for anything. It knows who you are, but initially you have to do a setup. And I'm going to have another video how to set up SSH. It's optional. You can learn Git without having to set up SSH. You can do it, and you can do SSH later on. It's really up to you. If you want to do it, then you can do it. But I'm going to add the video in basically the pipeline, but it's going to be an optional video. So we're going to focus on HTTPS. HTTPS wants a username and a password. Whenever you want to clone this, clone means download. Okay, that's the first command you're going to learn. Git clone means you're making a clone of the remote repository to your local. Whenever you are on the web, that is a remote. We refer to it as remote. And whenever once you download or once you clone the repository into your laptop, whether you're a Mac or Windows or whatever, that is your local. So you have to really understand the difference between local and remote, because we're going to talk about that a lot. Local versus remote. Remote is on the web, local is on your laptop. So this repository right now, what we're looking at right now, this is my remote repository. And I want to make changes. I want to write code. I want to update. I want to work with this repository, right? So what I need to do is I need to clone it into my local, right? From remote to local, make changes. Then I'm going to push it back to remote. That's how it works. That process we're going to see in the examples. There are a bunch of commands you have to do, but just learn remote, local. You pull from remote to local. You push from local to remote, okay? Easy to understand, to remember that. So when we're pulling, it's called clone. As you can see, it says clone here. It's easy to remember because right there. So we're going to take this URL and we're going to open a terminal. Again, like I said, everything is terminal. There are UIs for you to use, but I want you to learn the terminal, the commands, because the commands work everywhere. The UI, you have to have some kind of UI installed for you to be able to do it. So let's say you're working on a Linux environment, you don't have a UI. If you don't know how to use the command line, then you can't really work. So you have to learn the command line first. Then as a bonus, you can learn the UI if you want to. I've actually never used any of the UIs. There's advantages to it. I definitely agree there's advantages to it. But knowing the command line is important. All right, so I'm going to copy this entire URL. Then I'm going to open my terminal. I use iTerm. Use any terminal you want. Hopefully you watch the video when we set up our Git. Make sure Git is installed. Make sure Git is configured. Git lowercase git -- version will show you if it's installed or not. If it's not, it will give you an error. Okay, so I'm going to try to clone it. I'm in this folder. I create a folder just for this course. So I'm going to do git clone and I'm going to paste that URL. So when you hit enter, it's going to ask for username and for address. So my username is super SQA. I think it's let me do super SQA. Super SQA1 might be. Now it's asking me for a password. If I put in my password, it's not going to work. See? It says, please see, blah, blah, authentication failed for that. So they don't allow the usage of password. That's very important. You have to remember that. The password you use here when you're doing git clone or git push is not the same password you have for your account. Okay? It's not. So we're going to create a token. So for the password we need, we got to create it. So what we're going to do is you're going to go into settings. Not this setting. This setting is for the repository. You go to click on the username, okay, and you're going to go to settings. All right, there's going to be a few steps. Then you scroll all the way down. You see developer settings, and we see this personal access token. That's what we need. We need to create a personal access token. So I'm going to click on that. For now, I'm just going to click on Classic. By the time you're watching this, Classic might be gone and they might have just this new thing. You might want to experiment with that. See how many, I have a bunch of tokens, okay, already. So I clicked on Classic. Then I'm going to click on Generate New Token. Again, I'm going to click on Classic, okay. Then it's going to ask me to log in. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to log in. I'll be right back because I have multi-factor authentication. So I have to get on my phone, get the credentials to log into my account. All right, I am in. So once you log in, this is what it looks like. So Classic token, I'm going to do it again. Classic token, generate new token. Again, I'm going to do Classic and you get it. So give it a name, whatever you want. So I'm going to say Git tutorial video delete. I'm gonna put delete so it reminds me to delete it because you're gonna see it. I definitely don't want to keep it. If you know it, you basically have access to my account. So protect it. Protect yours as well. So what we want to do is just click on this repo. That's good enough. You can explore those in the future. You know, for this one, we just want to be able to push and pull code. So we don't need to give it all this access. We just need a repo access. And I made it so it will expire in 30 days. Definitely add some kind of expiration, okay? Just to be safe. Then generate token. Then it generates this token here. This is our password. This is the one. And you're not going to be able to see it after this. Once you leave this page, it's gone, right? If you lose it, you're going to have to create another one. You can create as many as you want, I think. I know you can create tons. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it in my notes. So because I don't want to lose it. Do the same thing. Because once put it in your notes, just say my GitHub password or token and save it because you're going to lose it. Then, but if you lose it, don't worry about it. Just create another one. Okay. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to hit the up arrow on the command lines so I can repeat the command git clone. All right. This is the command git clone. So my username, super SQA. My password is what I just got, the token. Right, I'm going to come here, I'm going to paste it. Command V, I just pasted it. Another thing important to remember, it's not going to show you. Every time you type a password in the terminal, it's not going to display it because it is a password. It's there, just trust it. I did Command V or Control V to paste and just hit enter. It's going to take it. There you go, it worked. No errors, right? If I do ls, that repository is cloned, all right? So that's the point of this video. You need to generate a token to be able to clone the credentials, to do HTTP, okay? So I'm going to quickly go over that one more time. I'm going to go back to, let's say let's say you are inside of your repository. Let me start from there. Usually you have a repo. This is your account. Then you want to generate a token. Okay, one more time. Your username, right? And then settings. And then all the way at the bottom, developer settings, and then personal access tokens, classic, generate new token, classic, give it a name, something, click on repo, and then create it and save it. Then use that as a password. Every time Git is going to ask for your password, just use that. And remember, when you type the password in the terminal, it will not display it. You just have to trust it. That's a common thing. It will not display the password in the terminal. Now you are ready, you are good to go. Try it out. You can try it out if you want, but we didn't talk about the git clone command yet, so just wait. Just create the password or the token, save it in your notes, and move on, okay? All right, let's keep going.